happening, everybody? Tonight, I figured I'd show y'all Kenny's Drag and Drive twin turbo small block Ford Fox body coupe. So this one is this is a, I don't even remember, 420 inch or 427 inch small block Ford, twin 80s, I believe. Turbo 400 drag and drive car. So he's got 2 race tech seats that go in here. Anyway, my fab guy, Matt, built this car, and at Performance Fab did a bang up job on it. I really like it. He built chassis, fuel cells, chute mounts, basically everything, carbon tubs, yada yada. Very nice car. I really like this one. And it should be pretty dang fast. So built a turbo kit, turbo headers, mounted everything. So it came to us to be plumbed and wired. So I figured I'd kind of show y'all what we did. And Kenny hasn't seen the car since we actually put anything into the car. So this will be a little bit of a surprise for him. So I'll give you a rundown of what we used. So for plumbing, we used all Brown and Miller stuff. That's what we always use. So this is a pump gas tank. This is a methanol tank. Methanol tank's got a mechanical pump underneath. Pump gas tank has a Holley fuel pump, like drop-in fuel pump module. So it's got 2 Walbro, I think 255s in this one, or 450s. I can't remember which one he bought. But anyway, so what I learned with my big block combo is, again, this is like a pump gas / E85. Like we put flex on here, a flex sensor on here using one of the motion mounts. But a car like this, that's really rigid, well tied together, really stiff car. A lot of you guys see these cars. Oh, and you'll notice there's actually nothing else in my shop. That will change tomorrow morning, but it's kind of nice. So anyway, a lot of you guys see these cars like maybe on here or on my channel or on other people's channels, and they make big power. This is like a 2200 horsepower car, 2500 horse, I don't know, whatever. It'll make a bunch of power. And this car will be very, very fast if Kenny wants it to be very fast. But when you're driving down the road with a car like this, they are all over the place. This is not a car to get in and hot rod around on the street. Justin, our employee, he has a Chevelle, a 71 Chevelle, that is a big block single turbo deal, but it's got a 4L80 and it's a streetable car. It's a very, 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 very streetable car. And that's a car you can go out and it's just on the edge of being a car that you can go out and hot rod around on in the road before you get yourself into trouble. A car like this will get you into trouble. You will, and I'm not talking about trouble with the law, I'm talking about wrecking this thing. When they're this stiff, they've got, big heavy duty anti-roll bar. They're made to be on level ground. They're made to go fast in a straight line. You get on a crowned road and you're quick to get in trouble. You get on, any uneven surface, that they're all over the place. You can lose one of these cars pretty quick. So what I learned with my big block combo, that's what I was talking about here, is it's a heck of a lot easier. I don't want to make a bunch of power on pump gas and E85. So we use this is from Holley, but it's a Corvette style regulator, and it's a, it's got the fuel pump or fuel filter and regulator built into it, right? So it's got a bypass line that comes right here, and then that's your return. So it cuts down on plumbing dramatically, and then it gets deadheaded up front. So it's a single line. If you look, there's your single line. It goes through a bulkhead fitting here through the carbon. And it goes up front. Let's go look up front. And then it is plumbed right here with a -6 line. This is a Brown & Miller crimp line. So it's a -6 to an 8 ORB hose end. So no adapter needed. Pretty slick. And then it comes over here, crosses over. Let's go over here. And to right here, this is where I pick up fuel pressure from, right there. And then it is plugged right here in the back. So, just an idea for some of you drag and drive guys, if you want to cut down on weight, complexity, cost for plumbing and whatnot. Deadheading it, it's worked fantastic for me. The only downfall to it is like if the car's been sitting for a little while, and what I mean a little while is like a couple days, when you go and prime the fuel pump, it kind of gets airlocked up here. So what I do is I have a table in the ECU to increase cranking fuel until, and after start fuel until we actually have pressure here. So it kind of hangs the injector open until, like these injectors, it'll hang them open during the prime, and it will purge the air out of it, and then you have, fuel. So it's really the only downfall. But besides that, it's been plenty fine for us to cruise around my twin turbo big block on. And I did another car like that, I just don't remember which one it was. Anyway, the other fuel system is mechanical. It's got there's a oil pump here. So this is his oil pump. And then off the back of it will be a fuel pump drive cable that goes all the way to the back of the car. I made other videos about that stuff. So if you want to learn about fuel pump drive cables, go on my channel, look at them. And that is going to be feeding, really hard to see, but there's 2 sets of EV1 Bosch 210s down here. Okay, so that's going to be feeding them. So this is 24 injector deal, a bit more complex than 16, but nothing that we can't do. We've done plenty of them before. These are actually going to be ran as paired injectors. So what that means is we're going to program the ECU, and when I make the second part of this video, I'll do some screen recording and show you the programming side of this. But basically we're going to lie to the ECU and tell the ECU that these are 440 pound per hour injector, 420 pound per hour injectors instead of 210s, because it's going to fire both of them at the same time. These are driven off of the injector driver box, which is up there, which we'll go over in a second. So anyway, plumb the oil system. So external oil pump, it picks up from the bottom of the pan down there. And then we're using this is a 2-stage pump. So this is the vacuum section. So you can see this line here goes to a T and it draws off the bottom of these turbos. And then it pumps it back into the pan right here. And then this is your oil pressure side. Comes up from the oil pump, goes into this Clearview filter with another 12 AN to 12 ORB direct thread fitting. And I wanted to stagger them just because we're tight with the coils here, right? So I wanted them to be staggered so that we had plenty of clearance here. That worked out well. And then it goes back into the motor. So we plumbed all the CO2. We plumbed, it's not CO2 actually. It's a air compressor and an air tank, and I'll show you all that. So we've done a couple of cars with the onboard air. It's got its pros and cons. This setup is probably, if you're okay with the weight of it, this is probably the best way to do this. It's got a Viair compressor, and then we got a hose that runs up to a billet tank, or billet end caps on a spun aluminum tank. So we're controlling this via the smart wire. We've got a pressure transducer here. We've got a safety switch here, on-off safety switch, which will shut it's used as an input to the smart wire, and then it shuts this on and off when it reaches desired pressure. And then we have a dual port regulator. So 2 different pressures here, 150 for the chutes or 175 for the chutes, 100 for everything else. So we've got a chute release up there, the motion setup right there, and then a M&M shifter with an air solenoid on it, and then we have boost control solenoids right there. And those all run at 100 PSI. So this little air tank is pretty sweet. It's actually lighter than I anticipated. I think it weighed like right at 8 pounds with everything all bolted up to it. So it looks really, really heavy, but it's actually not. I think this setup will probably be the best solution. Let me know in the comments. We were going to come together, or we were going to put together like I guess you'd call it like a pro series or whatever, CO2 plumbing kit. So like a dual port regulator, all high quality fittings, right? Some of the oddball specialty fittings that you wind up using, the sleeving that we use over top of the hoses, like this stuff here, bunch of T's, the little miscellaneous hardware, like this is a T, that it's plastic, yes, but it's got like little mount holes in it, so that's why we use this here. We're just gonna put together something that like had absolutely everything that you would want to plumb your entire race car. Let me know if you think that that would be a valuable thing to bring to market or not. So, anyway, that's really as far as it goes with plumbing. Plumbing is not exactly sexy. Wiring isn't either, but here we are. So, up here, we've got an electronics panel. So, this is the SmartWire injector driver, Dominator ECU. Down here, EGT module, Pro 600. Okay. So, this we opted to not boot everything. We typically don't, like the last video I showed you with the Nova, the really pretty Nova that Nick owns. We booted everything, and the reason being is because it was down low by where your feet are. So there was no point in doing it up here because it's not going to be kicked and whatnot. So, oh yeah, and some of you guys have asked me, how's my arm healing? There's a scar from it. Pretty sweet. So, and it works pretty good. Doctor did a pretty good job. Anyway, Davis VPS goes right there. Shannon went out of town, so I think I'll have one on Saturday. Holley 12.3 dash. We've got a motion turn signal over there. In the next video, I'll show you, we got power window and power door lock switches. And then I ran it up to Matt, and Matt, Performance Fab, made me a little bracket that bolts on here, comes over and down, and holds the power window and door lock switches on the side of the shifter. So that'll be pretty sweet. We used, let's go to the other side. In that last video I made, we went over the shifter with Nick's car. We did some similar stuff here with the shifter. This has become more and more popular. More and more people like this. So we've got the 8-button keypad for the SmartWire, and then we've got the 12-position rotary dial right here for tune-up changes, boost offsets, timing retards, whatever you want. And then we got the master kill switch right here. So if he gets in trouble, bang, and we're good to go. So, and then there's a modern makes that shifter mount, or shifter solenoid mount, so for the bottom of the M&M shifter. So these shifters are getting more and more, I guess, full, you know. So this thing has a plethora of really badass parts on it. There's a TBM line lock up here. Cool thing about a TBM line lock is you can drive them straight from the ECU. So you don't actually have to use like a relay or an output from a PDM because they only draw like 1 amp, which is pretty sweet. And then we're gonna monitor brake pressure here, and brake pressure is gonna be able to turn on our brake lights, and then we'll also be able to use it in data logs and whatnot. We used Rife has recently released the new coolant temp and air temp sensors with DTM connectors. So we've used those. Big fan of them, like them a lot. We've used, on this car we used a couple of Scarlett Solutions sensors. So these are a little bit cheaper of an option, but actually really high quality. They've held up well. We used a couple of them on the Black Sheep from John Dock, which is a screw blower Hemi. And that dude will break anything, and he hasn't had any problems yet. So they've held up pretty well. In fact, we even use one of his shock travel sensors for a throttle position sensor. Now we've got it's gonna be hard to see. Here you go. There you go, a Rife Sensors back pressure canister for the dome pressure. I highly recommend putting one of those on every car. It's well worth it. So, smooths out data. And then, of course, probably my favorite thing for EGTs, disregard my little crisscross there. I actually just noticed it. These are Glenn Payne at Mad Racing, makes these. They are bulkheads for your EGTs. So this is like his pro EGT kit. I like this. This is probably the nicest one on the market, in my opinion. Probes are all pretty long, so they're all cut to length, which is nice, and they include the black connectors, right? And his Pro Kit includes the black or natural finished bulkheads, plenty long, so like no matter where you put that bulkhead, it'll reach. Big fan of those. We try to use those on just about every car that we do. And in fact, a lot of people have just started installing them, the bulkheads, before they bring the car, which makes life for us even easier. So we're gonna do a bulkhead connector, probably right about here. And then a bump start switch is gonna go right about here, which is going to be matching the hole for the throttle rod. So it looks kind of uniform. We had to put a dipstick in this thing, low car. You know, a lot of people badmouth low car dipsticks for transmission, but I think it's because everybody buys a little cheap one. This one's awesome. This one locks real good, and the hole's big enough where you can put like a real size funnel. Plus, a couple of companies are out there 3D printing funnels that actually click into this. So those are nice. I don't know why anybody would badmouth them. So, but anyway, yeah, this is Kenny's car. We are going to hopefully wrap this thing up. By the end of tomorrow, we should be pretty close. I have a feeling we'll probably finish this thing up on like Monday or Tuesday. I think he's stopping by here to drop off the doors so we can just, wire up power windows and door locks. And I don't even know what else. Oh, I actually did carpet in this car too. So if you made it this far into this video and haven't been bored yet, little tip for you if you have to do carpet in your race car. This is Ozite carpet from eBay, right? It's cheap. Like, enough carpet to do this is, well, you have to buy a lot because like you have to cut it down and whatnot because you don't know how much you're gonna need. But like this is like $50 worth of carpet. But here's a little pro tip. All right, now let's do it up here. God dang it. That's Velcro. So if you use the stiff side of Velcro, right there, the carpet sticks to it, and then you don't have to cover this whole thing in spray glue and waste your floor pans and make them look terrible and make it impossible to remove if you ever want to change it out. So wide pieces of Velcro, buy them off of Amazon, dirt cheap. They're sticky backed, stick them to the floor and lay your carpet over top of it. Makes life a heck of a lot easier. I think it took me like an hour to do the carpet in this car, which some of you might hear that and go, oh, I could have done that in 3 minutes. Well, whatever, it took me an hour. So, and it worked out pretty well. So anyway, this thing's gonna be pretty bad. So we wired up the dual on-off switches for the chutes, or plumbed all them up. Justin's been killing it on this one, and I have too. But I mean, I just wanted to shout out Justin. He's been doing a very, very good job. So anyway, part 2 coming up probably next week with this thing running. See ya.